you surprised we're all here?
Huh?
You surprised we're all here?
I didn't, you never know.
Ready for you. We don't.
Is this okay like it is right here?
Yeah.
This? Okay. Well,
Coach,
first,
you just start us off
yeah.
with some opening thoughts on week one.
Well, first of all, thanks for being here. We're excited to get going. It's been a long off season. Ton of changes in this program. Brought in 27 transfers and 11 or 12 high school guys, and I've been impressed with the way they've been able to gel. And hopefully we can maintain that energy that we have and that connectedness that we have as we go through the season and hit some hurdles and face some adversity. But I like where we're at right now. We've had good practices. There's great energy, really good focus. Some of the guys that have come in from other programs have added a real sense of maturity to this team. And so I think we're excited to get going. You always learn a lot about your team in those early games. We face a really, really good Maryland team on the road. I think we're going to learn a lot about where we are as a team and what our potential can be just going down there and playing a team that we have a ton of respect for. You look at what they've done, what Coach Lockley's been able to accomplish, and I look back at last season where they came out hot and they won 5 in a row, and then they had a little lull where I think they lost 4, and then they finished strong. And to me, that's just the sign of a team that's mentally tough and is resilient. And so we know what we're up against. But our guys are excited to go out and play together for the first time against an opponent. They've worked very, very hard this offseason, starting from the day they came back on campus with a new strength and conditioning coach, adapting to new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, some of the adjustments we made in the way we practice and prepare. And I think that, they're excited to finish this week off in terms of their preparation and then, cut it loose at 12 o'clock on Saturday down at Maryland. So that's where we're at.
What are the biggest challenges with all the new things that you mentioned, all the new players, all the new coaches going to their first week? What are the things that you expect to be the biggest challenges to getting to know the team?
I think the unknown and how people are going to react to certain situations. You're in practice, you're in a very controlled environment. There's pressure, and we put tons of pressure on them, but just react when it's real and when you're against somebody else. And, it's not just reacting. I think you say react is to, the challenge is reacting to success, how we handle success, how we handle setbacks, how we interact as a team, how we fight, how we compete for 3.5 hours, learning a little bit more about your people under those conditions rather than, sitting in an environment where we control it a little bit more. And that's always very telling, I think the lights come on and it brings out some truths that maybe you didn't know, and those can be very, very positive, or those can be challenges.
How has the team reacted to the new defense? It seems like it's considerably different.
It is very different. And they've reacted great. I think they're excited about it. It's an aggressive defense. It's challenged them, and these guys like challenges. They're competitors, and I'm excited about it. Of course, we're gonna get better as the season goes on, as we play it more in game situations. But what I've seen is a group of guys that have embraced the change and seen how it can help us and understand every day a little bit more how they fit into the scheme, and they've learned to play their roles. So I'm ready to see it under live fire.
Can I ask about quarterbacks? I imagine.
See, we thought that would be question 1.
Give me a couple before that.
Yeah.
But can you just speak on the competition? Is it a case where it's very close and it's coming down to the wire, or is it something where maybe you just don't want to give it away for the opponent to know or something like that?
No, look, I will say this: it's a very good quarterback room, and you've heard me say that before. I think we have 4 guys that we have a lot of confidence in. And talking about Joe and Nick and Tucker and Cole. Those guys have all shown an ability to do good things in practice. And, once again, in a game, it's going to be different. The only one on our roster that's played in a game at this level is Joe. Nick's played a couple snaps when he was at Oklahoma versus Texas, but not an extended amount of time. In terms of giving the opponent a heads up, I think they don't have film on Tucker. They don't have film on Cole. They don't have film on Nick. They don't have film on Gordy, just like we don't have film necessarily on their guys. So I've just never been one in my career that's felt it was important to announce to the public, who's going to start. I've never been one that felt it was important to even though your opponent doesn't have film, to give them any inkling of who may run out there for the first snap. I haven't read yet that they've announced their starting quarterback. I think they said they were going to do it today. So I'll just let Mike go first.
What do you expect out of this Maryland matchup? What do you think that they're good at? What do you expect them to be?
Well, I think they're big, fast, they're physical, they're tough, and they're mentally tough. I think when you look at what they did last year defensively, and they finished in the top 38, I believe, in all major defensive categories. They pressure the quarterback well, they take the ball away well. Now, this is all based on last year. Just like us, they're a new team, and they've got to reestablish themselves, just like we've got to try to establish ourselves. But you base your predictions on the history, and they've shown to be a really tough physical team. Offensively, I think they're big and physical up front. They've added some transfers on the offensive line and the skill positions. You look at the number of starts that their guys have had; it's significant. They run the ball well, so they're an experienced team. They know what they're doing. Of course, just like us, and whether it's Cole, Tucker, Nick, or Joe, they're incorporating a new quarterback. They had Tuli Tagovailoa, so we don't know exactly what to expect there. But I'm anxious to see us go out and compete. I want to see how we compete, and I want to see us play in the moment and just play each play as hard as we can, and not worry about external factors and not worry about the scoreboard, and just go play. And if we do that, there's an opportunity for things to go our way.
There was so much hype around last year's opener with NC State coming off 2 years ago. How is this different other than being on the road?
Well, it's different that we're on the road, really, and that changes a lot of your routine. But in terms of the challenge, the challenge is very, very significant. Last year it was a really good NC State team that had gotten after us in 2022. I think they beat us 42-3 or something like that. 49-3 is a significant score. An ACC team this year, we're going on the road against I think they were an 8-5 team last year, Big Ten team. So the challenge is still very significant for us, which I think our guys embrace. These are competitors, and they want to go against the best, and we're going against a very good team. So it's similar in terms of the challenge. It's different in terms of, we don't have necessarily the momentum coming out of, 2022 like we don't have that momentum. We don't have the momentum coming out of 2023 like we did in 2022, but that's okay. It's always a new year. It's always a new team. It's always a new endeavor. It's always a new challenge.
Do you feel like you can build momentum in camp? Do you feel like you've built momentum?
In camp?
Yeah.
You build confidence in, overcoming adversity, handling intense practices where you're in pressure-packed situations. You build confidence, but I think the true confidence comes in having success in a game, against somebody that you don't know, in a really tough competitive environment where you both have a lot on the line. When you can have success there, then I think that builds the confidence that you need to go through the season.
What has Joe shown you at quarterback?
Well, he's cool, he's calm, he's experienced. He's I think sometimes when you say the word game manager, people maybe take that as a negative connotation, but he's got really good game management skills. He understands situations very well. He takes care of the football. He's got accuracy as a thrower. We saw him that first drive last year against NC State, good drive, and then they did some things, and they were a good team, and kind of put the clamps on us, and then unfortunately he got hurt in that second game, and we didn't get to see much of him. But when I reflect back to last year's training camp and that NC State game, I think there's a lot of positives there. And if you surround him with some guys that can run the ball well, and we've added talent to our wide receiver room, some guys that can get open, and he can make those throws.
And how is Nick different?
Well, Nick is less experienced. Nick is so he's a little bit more of a wild card there. Nick is probably a little bit better runner than Joe in terms of just pure speed. Joe can get yards, but Nick's probably a little bit better runner. I think Nick has tremendous confidence in his arm talent, but once again, he hasn't had a chance to play yet. I think that regardless of who's on the field for us at quarterback, our team will, at least going into this game, have great confidence in that player, just because of what they've shown in practice on a day in and day out basis, and the way they've been in meetings in terms of their, their attitude, their seriousness, their work ethic, their ability to take things from the meeting room out to the practice field and be efficient. So either way, we'll be confident.
Jim, from what you saw from your group in camp, did you have any major questions you may have entered camp with answered by what you saw? And I noticed that, did you have any major questions arise as you went through camp?
Questions arise, not really. Interestingly enough, the biggest question was who's going to be our long snapper, and our quarterback, obviously. But I think the questions will start to be answered now. Everything kind of changes when it gets real, and so we're going to start finding out a lot about this team. You have suspicions as you go into the season, positives and things that you're concerned about, but nothing that just stands out greatly to me. I'm encouraged by what I've seen. I'm encouraged by the way these guys have come together. I'm encouraged by their work ethic, their attitude. Like I said, their ability to connect, all of those things I'm really encouraged by. But, hopefully the team that I see on a daily basis is the team that we continue to become and grow and grow and grow into as the season goes on. When it counts and it goes in the paper and it's on the internet and, the highlights are being shown and you're being judged by your record.
The quarterback, if you have, a person starting, do you think there's a potential for you to look to a second option, given that you're so positive, things are positive?
No, look, we've had to do that the last 2 years after one game. It'd be great to be able to settle into quarterback and play. I've always felt that the best thing to do is pick a guy and then just support the heck out of him. Just support him. Give him confidence, give him your energy, give him all your attention. Try to put them in a great position to have success. I don't want guys that are looking over their shoulders saying, am I going to be replaced? If I make a mistake, am I going to be replaced? You don't play well when you're looking over your shoulder like that. That's just always been my philosophy. And the men that I've been around that are coaches and GMs that have had success, that's been their philosophy. So that doesn't mean you won't, if a change is necessitated, you won't make it, but you don't ever go in, or I don't ever go into a season thinking that way. I'm like, that's our guy. We're going to go with him. We've got a backup or two or three that if we need them, they're going to be ready. We can count on them, but this is our guy. Let's throw everything behind him and help him have success.
Are you happy with the new interior offensive line?
Right now, yes, yeah. And I'm happy with the depth of our offensive line. I think we've got a greater depth. That doesn't mean we have, more talent, but we do have more talent. Doesn't mean we have better talent. We just have more depth. It's hard to replace a Christian Haynes. Right now he's starting for the Seahawks at guard. So it's hard to replace that. But we've had guys that have stepped up and done a good job. For the first time ever, we've got really 3 guys that we think can play center. Last year we'd be nervous if we lost our starting center. Now we've got 3 guys that we think can play in there: Wes, Karsten, and Chris Fortin. So once again, we'll see, how we hold up and how we do against a really, really good Maryland defensive front. They're big and they're physical and they're powerful and they're strong and they're aggressive. So it's going to be a heck of a challenge for us. I think we'll have a real good feel for where we are as a team, on Sunday.
Jim, based on what you've seen from,
No, I'm sorry.
based on what you've seen from the team you've put together, and I know you've spoken to groups, what would you say to encourage people to invest in this group? What gives you the optimism? Why should people outside be optimistic? What are your points there?
Well, I get to see them every day, and I get to listen to them. I get to talk to them. I have a feel for their personalities, who they are, their goals, their work ethic, their character, all of those things. And it's a top flight group. I've talked about this a lot, Dom. There's not a sense of entitlement around here. It's a bunch of kids that really want to work for it. They're a blue collar type of crew. They're going to give you their best every single day. Win, lose, or draw, they're going to continue to compete to the very end. You know, I see positive things for this program on the horizon. We've still got a lot of work to do. I would say this, you know, the energy that people bring, we feed off of. And yet we have to earn that. We have to earn their energy. I've always felt like that. You know, I don't like it when coaches stand up and they criticize a crowd, you know. If you're doing well, a crowd's going to be for you, right? And if you're not, I mean, they've paid good money. It's tough for them to sit there and absorb that stuff. And, you know, you never, me as a coach, you never criticize the number of people in the stands. You thank the people that were there and you say, hey, we have to earn more people coming in and embracing this program. And I think if we can go out this year and show continued improvement and be very competitive and have a record that gets us into a good bowl, right, that I know that people will show up. I think it was proven, you know, last year, the very first game of the year, NC State. You know, we won 6 regular season games. We showed some promise late. We beat a Liberty team, and the place was, you know, pretty full. I mean, there was great energy. So it's really about us doing all that we can to prove to people that want to support UConn athletics, you know, whether it's football, basketball, hockey, soccer, women's lacrosse, it doesn't matter. You know, hey, these guys, they're fun to watch. They're worth coming out. It's worth spending our time and some of our money and making an investment. So I've always looked at it that way, you know. It's up to us to show them. And that's you know, one of our intentions.
I'm not sure you wanted to call me, so I have another quarterback question for you.
No, that's fine.
When you're talking about wanting to throw your full support behind a quarterback, but also play your cards close to the chest because you have a card that you can play right now, how do you balance that in the quarterback room for you?
Well, they know. They know who the starter is. Yeah, they know. They've been talked to. Like, you know, listen, you want to know who the starter is? It's not that. Nick's the starter. Okay, there you go. You drew it out of me. All right, Nick's starting. It doesn't matter, right? Like, because after one play, everyone's going to know anyway. So. I just ruined like 20 minutes of intrigue. No, I was thinking about saying it before. I was like, why am I playing with you guys? You guys come out here and you want to write a story and, you know, like, I'm not going to stand up here and play you for fools. I mean, that's stupid of me. That's not my character. So Nick's our starter, and we're going to throw all our support behind him, and we're going to put him in a position to win. And we know that Joe and Tucker and Cole are ready to go if there's a reason to have them go.
Is there anything else you're keeping from this team?
No, that's about it. I mean, what the hell? Shit, it doesn't matter. God dang, right? Everyone's going to know after the first play anyway.
When did you decide, when did you come to the realization that he's my guy?
It was, you know, it just kind of slowly grew through camp, probably a couple weeks ago, you know, probably a couple weeks ago. You know, when you go out, these days, when you go out into the portal, when you have uncertainty in your quarterback room or any room on your team, which we did, right? I mean, we did. You know, last year, you know, Joe, in our eyes, beat out Taquan for the starting job, and then Taquan, the year before, had come in and been the starter, but last year Joe beat him out, and then Joe gets hurt, and then Taquan takes over, and then, you know, there's just a lot of uncertainty, and you go out in the portal and you find a guy that you think's got talent. You know, you don't, in this day and age, you don't bring a guy in and, you know, and help him get NIL opportunities unless you're pretty convinced he's going to be the guy. You know, that's the way this thing works nowadays. So, you know, not to disparage any of the other quarterbacks, when you go get Nick Evers, you know, you're hoping that he becomes the guy, you know, and you're cheering for them all and you're pushing them all and you're coaching the heck out of all of them and you're loving them all up, but you're hoping deep down that, you know, you made the right decision, that you can really solidify that room. And I think that room's pretty solid right now. And, but, you know, we've all seen around here how fast that can change at that position.
Can you talk a little bit more about the wide receivers and how you've upgraded there? You feel like you have a couple playmakers?
I do. I feel like when you bring in a Skylar Bell, who, you know, was a starter at Wisconsin, and a TJ Sheffield, who's a starter at Purdue, that's produced on a big stage, you know, that's going to help your team. You see a sense of maturity and confidence in those guys that's you know, we haven't necessarily had here. When you bring in, you know, Azariah easy, you know, big, tall guy, because we've been kind of looking for someone that can replace the production that Justin had. We lost him to NC State. He gives you some of that, you know, big body, mismatch type of guy. Or Josiah or Shamar, who, you know, 6'2", 205-pound guy that can run like the wind. You know, Josiah, a guy who's been a productive player at Akron. It's just a different feel. You know, like I watch it in practice. I'm not saying they're going to get open every down and catch every ball, but there's a different level of confidence, maturity, understanding of the game, depth, you know, all of those things. And then, you know, a couple of the young guys have come on. You know, Brett Buckman, I didn't talk about Brett Buckman. I mean, you know, he's steady Eddie. We saw what he'd done in some games last year. And then, Brock Montgomery, who's a true freshman, he's going to contribute. So I feel like there's plenty of depth in that room. We can rotate guys through and not have a significant drop-off in terms of production.
So Skylar said Nick is his guy. He hopes
Well,
to him here because they had a good friendship. Did the chemistry develop early on because they've just known each other for a while?
yeah, but I've seen that chemistry develop with all those guys and our quarterbacks, because it was not unusual for our quarterbacks to have our receivers out on the practice field on a Friday night at 9 or 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning at 7 or 8 in the morning throwing the ball around. That was that was typical, and it was also necessary because you have to have that chemistry. And when you bring in the new receivers we did and a new quarterback after spring ball, you know, you're playing from behind. And so in order to catch up, they have to go do some of that stuff on their own, and they did it. And so I think, yeah, he's got a good chemistry with Skylar because he knew him, but he's also developed out with the other guys. And so is Joe and Cole and Tucker.
Jim, a few times last year in this setting, you really emphasized the importance of support for the program in areas of fundraising and NIL. Just wonder, 8 or 9 months later, how you feeling about all that?
I think that there's a number of people that did an amazing job in helping us go out and acquire players and retain players. You know, I hate to leave anybody out because a lot of people did a lot of things, but you know, I think about Mike Burton and the commitment that he made, and you know, he essentially became like, you know, our general manager for a while there, you know, in the NIL, and Dennis Naden and John Malfonte. I mean, so many, I'm going to leave people out and I'll probably get a text or an email. I gave too, and they all gave, and I recognize them all and appreciate them all. And that's the world of college athletics right now, you know, right now. I mean, it's changing every day, but you're so dependent on people having a passion for their university and a belief in their program. And so as a coach, and I would hope as players, it makes you feel responsible, more responsible. I think we all feel that anyway because we're all competitors. But, you know, I mean, I feel responsible to those men and women that have, you know, given money to this program and funded NIL opportunities for our players, you know. And I think our players feel the same way. It's become very much more like pro football than it's ever been.
You feel like you're in a much better place in that area?
Oh, goodness sakes, yeah, much better. And I think we're growing, you know, and there's just a lot of energy that's been expended by a lot of people to help us get where we are right now. And we've got a long ways to go, but there's been a tremendous amount of commitment to helping us get where we need to be. You know, I think that the people that matter right now see the vision. I think they see the vision, and they understand that it's, you know, it's a process and it's going to take a while. And, you know, we've been climbing out of a hole here now for a couple of years, and we're just going to keep, you know, trying to dig our way out. Okay, thanks everyone. Appreciate it.